So then from that, they go to the tag team title match with SCU against FTR, and Adam Page joined for color, half drunk and sipping whiskey, and added pretty much nothing to the occasion.
I did like that Excalibur was so mad that he had to tell you how mad he was in his completely fake way of speaking. I'm so mad, I'm angry right now.
Yeah. Well, get mad or get glad, either one, because you ain't going to be doing anything about it, pal. Here's a note. We had the debate, not a debate, we had the discussion. We were both in agreement. Pockets is a fucking idiot on how bad Pockets. I noticed last week he hits the ropes real screwy. And that's why it looks so funny and off kilter when he's running the ropes and he looks like a little scurrying mouse, because he hits the ropes where he turns completely. So he hits the ropes flat of his back with his right arm over, as you're supposed to keep the rope from, fucking whiplashing you, but also with his left hand. And I watched this a number of times. He did it the same way every time, so it wasn't just an accident. His right arm over the top rope, but his flat of his back, he's completely flat with both of his feet parallel, instead of one and the right one in the back and the left one in the front in the stride. And with his left hand, he reaches down and actually grabs the middle rope when he hits the ropes every time, like he's doing that on purpose. If you want to see how grown men, actual trained professional wrestlers, hit the ropes instead of cosplaying children, go back and watch the early part of this match, either Kazarian or Sky or either member of FTR, and watch it in slow motion. You'll get the fucking picture. Because these are trained athletes. Imagine that. And a wrestling match broke out on this program. Everything made sense. It was, they'd still picked it up, especially toward the end, going home with a nice pace. They did a lot of moves, but none of the partners helped their opponents do moves to their own partner. Everybody sold everything for the most part, what passes for selling these days. It made sense. You could tell who was pitching and who was catching. So a wrestling match broke out. FTR did a nice heel spot to get Daniels tossed out of ringside so that they would have the numbers advantage with their manager at ringside, Tully Blanchard. That played into things later on. There was a clearly defined heel and babyface in this contest. The babyfaces, right before the break, the babyfaces ran wild on a big comeback sequence, and FTR even took a dive without making it look obvious. They were going after one of the other guy when here came Scorpio and blindsided him with a dive. FTR did a backslap tag. I thought they would be the ones. It's already bad enough that the announcers have to say that in FTR's matches, they have it in their contracts that people have to follow the rules, use tag ropes, etc. It's like when the Cowboys play the Steelers are going to have to follow the rules because it's in the Cowboys contract. I don't fucking know. But anyway, besides the backslap tag, boys, I'm ashamed of you. You know you can do it better than that, and there's an easy way to make the fucking blind tag when your guy's hitting the ropes. They suckered Scorpio Sky into a heat spot to go to the break. Actually constructed a match. Otherwise, somebody just did a fucking dive and they're laying on the floor. Are we all going to hang through a 4-minute commercial break to see what happens next? Why? Everybody just dove and is laying there. They actually changed the momentum of the match. Baby faces are in jeopardy. What's going to happen next? Come back from the break. They've got the heat on Sky, but they kept him alive. And he fights back well from underneath while he's selling. He got a hot tag because I don't know why. I don't know why that the babyface can't be disoriented and go to the neutral corner when the heels make the tag so that the fresh heel is in the ring and ready to attack before the babyface is going for the tag. That's what makes it a surprise. Anyway, Frankie Kazarian made a nice comeback. FTR did some great teamwork stuff. then they went into a really nice series of false finishes. And as I said, they really kicked in the pace. Going home, they did the Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express, double backdrop sunset flip finish spot as an homage. That was nice. And where two heels shoot one babyface off and go to double backdrop him. The babyface sunset flips one of the heels. The other heel grabs that heel's hand and is holding him up from going over in the sunset flip. And then the other babyface comes and drop kicks the heel holding him. Or in this case, Sky did the crossbody off the top. That's an homage to the Midnight Rock and Roll. It was complicated stuff, but they didn't step on each other's shit. Everybody's move or whatever they were doing had the spotlight, even if it was for a couple of seconds. You see the amateurs a lot. They do everything in a clump at one time, where there's two moves taking place, one on either side of the ring, so the crowd and the camera and the director's attention is split. A good wrestling match, everybody has the spotlight for what they're going to do. If they're going to take a bump or do a move or do something that is pertinent to the finish or part of the story, even if it's just for a couple of seconds. Boom over here, and then boom over here, and then, oh, that referee's distracted, and then, oh, that's the way that I used to teach it in OVW classes or Ring of Honor seminars. If you're going to be doing this complicated finish, you can't do things simultaneously. They have to flow, and you can't see people waiting for their spot or their opportunity as they're obviously waiting. And it has to be, the timing has to be just like that, but you can't do shit at the same time. Even if it's boom here, boom there, boom over there. It's not just boom, 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 all at the same time. Anyway, and it made sense. And then finally, one of the classic manager finishes of all time. I've done it many times. All managers have done it. It's a classic, at least in the NWA. They go to do a suplex outside in. Babyface has the heel on the apron, going to vertical suplex him in over the top rope. Manager grabs the fucking babyface's leg and pulls it. Heel falls on top. Manager ducks down below the apron, holding the foot so that he can't do the kick out. 1, 2, 3. A nice heel fuck. Great tag team match. This is the difference. You could turn this show on, or this match on, and see AEW, and any wrestling fan from any period of time could go, okay, they've got legitimate talent. Even if I'm not familiar with these guys, they obviously look like legitimate wrestlers. They are highly skilled. They're having a great match. I should pay attention to this. The next segment, it looks like, well, I'll tell you what the next segment was, and then you can comment on this one. But the next segment was Jericho in pockets, and it looked like an ex
Jericho
over the hill WW Jericho, or not Jericho, but Jericho and Cassidy, rather. I'm sorry. Jericho and Cassidy. Pockets was later. But Jericho and Cassidy looked like an over the hill ex WWE guy doing an indie show against the guy at the wrestling school that sold the most tickets visually. And I'm sorry, but that is the visual component of this show, and the low rent look of a lot of the talent and the inexperience of a lot of the talent is why that a lot of people that may be flipping by and would watch a program with FTR versus SCU because they look like fucking stars and athletes is not going to because they think it's outlaw wrestling when they see pockets, or they see the fucking dwarf, or they see the fucking goofy outlaw gimmicks, or they see poor Isaiah Cassidy with his fucking the worst attire that any pro wrestler has ever worn on national television. That's what I'm talking about, the visual component. They don't make any new fans because people outside this bubble that they're in of 750 to 1,000 to 1 million people, and what was the rating on this one was another 850,000, and they beat NXT by the same 100 to 150,000. It's the same people. New fans ain't going to watch this because anybody that ever watched wrestling would look at this fucking half this show visually and go, what the fuck? I can see shit like this down at the grade school when they run the local outlaw show. But anyway, your thoughts on our friends FTR and SCU?
I really liked the match. I thought Kazarian was especially impressive. I thought Scorpio Sky seemed to step behind at various points throughout the match. My only complaint, despite it being a really good match, was I wouldn't have done as many kickouts and near falls if you're going to have Tully hold the guy's foot down to win. I would have ended it sooner.
I can see that, but they've got to appease the young audience who it's not a great match unless there's 72 false finishes.
Not every match needs to be a great match, I guess is my point.
But thank you, Mr. Preacher from the choir over here. But no, well, hey, they need some on this show, though. So I can understand when FTR, because we talked about this when FTR first joined before they'd ever even showed up there. That's the only team they've really got to work with, SCU. They can wrestle other teams. They can work with other teams, but these are the only trained professionals, veteran team that they've got that they can have a good match with and probably not worry about getting dropped on their fucking head by some of these greenhorns. So I can understand they'd want to go with it. But anyway, and so the matches, we've got a string going on here in this program. The matches are really good and the promos are stupid.